So then, how are we today? Are you feeling the Monday crust? Because I certainly am. But I'm hoping it's gonna go away by the time Neris is here for some Baldur's Gate 3. Still though, I gotta make best of what I have, which is this time. With you, I guess. For better or worse. It's for the better. Spoilers. But yeah, you know, this time we won't have, or I won't have, too much time to talk. So I might as well get into it. The intro is from, well, it's this. Wait, I'll show you. It's by James Horn. It's Tramada. So much time. Tramada is a game, by the way, this thing. But yeah, credit where it's due and all that. Good song. I like it. Right, so today's subject, what am I gonna do? Like, give you a lecture? Oh, I bet some of you fucking need a lecture. Anyway, I also need a lecture. So, what I wanted to talk about, that's better, right? Is loss, kind of. Not the kind that you might imagine, though. There hasn't been any loss in my life right now. But I'm talking about the general idea of it and how difficult it is for me to cope with it. And sometimes I kind of like disgust myself with how easily my confidence is shaken and how easily I start doubting when signs of potential loss might appear. I guess it has to do with having things taken from you in general. So I'll give you a simple example, right? Let's say that you have like a favorite toy, okay? And someone takes it from you. Does that feel good, I wonder? Like, for me, that feels horrible, for example. And of course, you know, the higher we go in the scale, the worse it is. Because at one point or other, you're going to talk about people, right? And, well, there's many ways to lose someone. I guess they can just leave you, for instance. And that's still loss, I guess. And yeah, it can get really bad, right? At least for me. And, you know, since we're talking about me here, you know, not to sound selfish, okay? But yeah. So the thing with that is that I'm highly allergic to it. I really am. To the point where sometimes, whenever it's reached the point, it wasn't always like that, but, you know, lose too many things and then gain some and then lose that and then gain something amazing and then lose that too. It starts kind of, I guess distressing you or worrying you way too much. And I know that, like, after you lose a lot, right, kind of become numb to it. I guess there is that theory there, but I can't confirm it for myself because I've never. Sometimes I wish I was at that level, not by losing many things more, but just by being able to, you know, immediately skip a step and go there, so that whenever I do lose something, I'm numb. That's what I'm saying. I'm not advocating for losing more stuff for myself, obviously. And I do realize, you know, always when I speak about these things, part of me, even though it's not good to do, right? But part of me still does compare. And I go like, there's people out there who have lost a lot more. But in my opinion, in the end of the day, losing a person, yeah, I don't know like how much higher you can get with that, right? I guess losing your own life, I suppose, or at least the way I say it. I don't know, maybe that's too selfish, but like, I don't care. That's what's on my head right now. So yeah, when it comes to people especially, I'm just get into this weird, sometimes, you know, when I meet someone and they're fascinating and I'm taken with them and whatnot. And I know this sounds like some kind of emo fucking diary thing. It is. It is a bit of that. I'm not gonna deny that there is some of that in there. No shame. But yeah, no, for real. It's like I get into this weird situation where the better it becomes, the more I start to believe that it's going to just happen, right? And I'm just gonna lose the person. Something will happen, I'll lose them, and that's a fear that I have, right? And we're talking about any kind of person, like a friend, anyone, right? That you can even partially start to think about including in your life, let's say. I'm not talking anything serious like marriage or anything, but like just generally including them, right? Just counting on them being there and whatnot, right? Doesn't have to be too dramatic. But still, that stupid fucking thing is still there. And it puts me in this mood where I want to avoid the person because of the perceived potential harm it would do to me if I were to, in some manner, lose them, right? And that fucks it up because it's almost like, isn't that what you call like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where basically you cause it? Like, just to put it like very, you know, simply, basically you end up causing it, right? Because with your response, with your behavior, the other person goes like, you know, what the fuck is going on here? You know, what's this psycho shit, right? And you can't really blame them either, and you only have yourself to blame at the end. Oh, hi. Self-sabotaging? Yeah, it's... I think that's a little bit... Yeah, I think it's self-sabotage to a degree. I will agree. And the only thing you can do, I feel, is like just snap out of it. And I say just snap out of it, but holy shit, is it hard. It's so hard that if you manage it in the moment, if you have that kind of willpower, you can almost, you know how you hear, like when you're in a ship, right, out in the ocean, and it's like wavy and stormy, and it's an old ship, and it creaks, it quote unquote speaks, you know, out loud its pains of enduring, like the, yeah, you feel that, like mentally, you're like, you know, close to crash depth, basically, fucking to to that kind of thing, yeah. And you kind of feel it in your skull, and you go like, oh god, yeah, I'm a go crazy right now, you know. And you don't, but it kind of, I don't know, like emotionally hurts a little bit when you have to do this. It's horrible. And it just sucks that you can't, like, there's no help with this. It's like it's one of those things that nobody can really take it away from you or make it like better. You're just stuck there, and you're like, okay, I must stop doing this. Like, I must stop doing this right now. I have to do this. And it's a crashing weight, honestly. And yeah, but if you don't do it, I mean, you know what comes next, right? The self-sabotage. So yeah. And having had to do this pretty recently, actually the last couple of days, I don't know, it's fresh and I wanted to get it off my chest. It fucking sucks, dude. It fucking sucks. Yeah, and it leaves you drained as well. You're like, after that, you're like, you know how I would describe it? It's like bad sex. It's bad sex that is over, and you just didn't want to be there. You just really didn't want to be there. And yeah, I don't fucking know. That's how it feels to me. Just the amount of effort, I guess. By the way, if you are contextless about this, what the fuck? Wait a minute. I heard a very weird sound and I have to go check it. Just be right back. Guess it was nothing. It was just the wind. I must be hearing things. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, if you're contextless, right? On Mondays, I'm trying to. Well, trying anyway. I decided I need to go back to like this Dear Diary kind of thing that I used to do because I miss it and I want it and I need it. And so you know, I squeeze it on Mondays. So that was a horror movie line. Every time I've heard something in my apartment and I've said like, oh, I need to check that, I am so sure that like a lot of people, like, you know, if someone is watching, a lot of people, wow, I am fucking conceited. But anyway, whoever is watching, that's what I mean, could be thinking that's a horror line. And now there you are. And you said it, you externalized it. Thank you. It's almost fulfilling. I didn't do it on purpose, but it's almost fulfilling to have someone say that. I would say that if a streamer said that. But yeah. No, I don't know what it was. It came from like somewhere behind my second PC. And I don't know what it could have been. But anyway. Yeah, right. So that's what I'm doing every Monday before Baldur's Gate. I just dedicate like maybe an hour or two to just airing my closet, I guess, or just talking about me. Basically, there's nothing else. It's just it's delusional. It's delusional completely. No, it's not. But you know, it's like I don't know. It's like it's cathartic for me, and so now you know if you want to avoid that kind of shit, then you want to avoid Mondays up until probably an hour from now, maybe less. Depends when my co-op partner for Baldur's Gate 3 shows up. But I would say, yeah, this is the time frame you should be skipping if you don't want to hear a grown-ass girl just blowing steam or talking about whatever, and like, you know, being heavily opinionated and probably also biased in some ways and other things that are bad, probably. So yeah, that's the context. That's what I'm doing now. This is what you stepped into, stupid weasel. Can I not call you stupid weasel? It's just, it's so derogatory. Like, stupid weasel? Come on. I'll just call you stupid. Weasel is a horrible word. By the way, no. Weasel will do, right? That works for you, I assume. Though I guess stupid weasel is kind of endearing. Alright, yeah. Yeah, it's difficult when someone puts something. Imagine if you had put there something like erotic weasel. Sometimes, you know, those first parts of names are amazing. Too amazing for anyone to handle. Yours is mild, but still I'll just use weasel. And then you can start insisting as well and going like, what do you mean? I demand that you call me erotic weasel. Subtextual. Wow, what does what? Okay, English. What does subtextual mean? I'm gonna Google that. Are you poisoning my mind with knowledge? Let's see. Relating to a subtext, having an underlying or implied meaning. Oh, I see. I'm not implying anything. I'm saying it straight up. What are you implying that I'm implying? Let's play the implication game. I think I told you last time as well, but like there's something about your name that makes me think I know you. I'm not saying that's the case, but it does make me think I know you. It's triggering certain stuff. I don't know what kind of stuff. It just makes me think I know that person. It's so weird. Also, what are you saying there? Can't speak for everyone, but you're good. Ah, but what if you could speak for everyone? What if I appointed you my chaplain? My evangelist? Oh, God. Yeah, no, I probably don't know you. It's just first of all, it's the color purple of your name, which immediately just feels familiar to me. And then it's the weasel part, which it just feels cute. And something in my brain kind of like gets crosswired there, and it's like cute and purple and okay. And they're talking to me. I know them. Oh my god. It's just a thing. I'm pretty sure we haven't met. But yeah, no, it's that I wanted to talk about before Baldur's. This extreme difficulty of stopping, of basically like literally input canceling self-sabotage. Legit. And it's the with people it's the worst. Worst? Yeah. It's the worst with people. Exactly because, you know, an object, I mean, in many ways, you can be weird to an object, right? Or a concept like money, for example, or whatever. But a person, the moment that they notice that your behavior changes because you're undergoing this internal struggle of trying not to find everything to be a sign of upcoming abandonment, and you go like, no, I'm tough, I'm not gonna be sweet to that person anymore, I'm not gonna be nice to them, I will just ignore them. Like in me personally, in me it comes out more as ignoring, and I'm not gonna be ashamed to admit also a slight tendency to want to punish the person as if they've already committed what I think they will, which is to leave, basically. And also not ashamed to admit, I guess, since I'm opening up, that quote unquote punishment will usually come in the form of ignoring them first, if that makes sense, to push them away, which is why I called it a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that behavior definitely reinforces any ideas that person might have of leaving you know, or me in this case, I guess. It's such a subtle and insidious process of your mind. It's one of those things that, like, when you catch it and you know that you have to fucking stop, like you literally just have to stop, as I said, snap out of it completely. It's so, I don't want to say kind of embarrassing, or it just puts you to such an emotional disadvantage against yourself even, where you have to literally, like, I have a physical reaction to it. For example, I kind of like slightly shake my head. I go like, no, you know, that kind of thing, like a tick a little bit, when I have to like actively just try and stop it right there and then. I used to do it a whole lot. I think I'm mostly past it, but yeah, I have to still fight that behavior. Yeah, it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. It has made me, in the past, it has made me far more confrontational than I wanted to be, for example. So it did have that side effect that is still lingering, I suppose, where I get confrontational, where when I sense like what I think is going to evolve into unfair treatment towards me. And you know, because we're human, obviously, we make mistakes, and so we start interpreting the wrong things to be the wrong things, and yeah, it only gets more and more complicated until it's a fucking mistake spaghetti. So yeah, with meatballs. So I don't know. Does it ever go away? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But like loss in general has fucked me. Like this is a lot to unpack. This is a lot to unpack, basically. I think the first major blow when it comes to that, like when I started breaking and you know ended up the way I am, was when I was very little, and I remember it so vividly. I mean, this shit is engraved. That's it. This shit is just fucking engraved. And my mother told me, like, when I was very young, by the way, like extremely, extremely young. My mother told me, well, there is something you should know. And I was like, okay, you know, one day we'll die. And I was like, what? What, you know, what do you mean? And she explained it. And that fucking thing destroyed me. Like, my child self soul was forever fucking shattered. It's weird. And I think also that's where my it's silly to say it, my fear of death, like who does not fear death, right? And I'm talking about natural, slow, age-related or aging-related death, not some kind of, you know, mishap, or I don't know, something more purposeful, such as knowingly participating in something that might result in you dying, I guess, for some purpose that you deem sane, I suppose. Just I'm trying to be, you know, I'm trying to be friendly. War is one example if you don't want to be friendly. But yeah, I'm talking about the kind of death that just finds you and it is inescapable, and it doesn't matter how well you lived or prepared or what you've done and said or whether or not you're ready. It will just happen, and it's permanent and irreversible and inescapable, and only a matter of time. And it's that death, that's the fear of death that I have, that kind of death. And I find it useless and disgusting. And the thing is, there's nothing else that signifies loss or embodies, I guess, if you can say that for death, loss more perfectly. And yeah, it's, and I'm not saying you can't inform your, you know, your children about certain concepts early on, but you have to have, I guess, some finesse, and you have to make sure that they're equipped to handle it, I suppose. I wasn't back then, but we're talking about a very young age, by the way, so yeah. And even if I forget everything about that age of mine, that will remain. That and another moment when I've brought it up before, but it's like it's fun. It's fun because it's kind of like macabre. Anyway, and so kind of funny in a morbid way, I guess, where we were on a plane with my mother, and again I was like around that age, of course, and I'm not sure why she was so obsessed with the subject that she would bring it up like that much. You have to understand, my mother is it's a combination of having an artist soul just to be very generous. And I guess also being absolutely a fucking solid wall of ice when it comes to emotions. And so, you know, we were on the plane and she was like on the, well, on the seat next to me, and I was looking outside thinking how amazing it is that you can fly. And, you know, the clouds looked really nice. And then my mother leans down to me and says, "You'll see me out there one day when I pass." And I'm like, whoa, fuck you. I mean, I say that now, but my reaction back then was to instantly just sink into my seat, close the fucking, you know, the shutter of the window and start like crying silently. And I remained in that state for the remainder of the flight, basically. And I think these two moments and other ones, but these two specifically, I think they fucked me up. Oh god. Anyway, and if I do see her out of a plane window after she passes, I'm just gonna flip my finger. That's all I'm gonna do. Like, fuck you, enjoy the clouds, you stupid whore. I'm done. I'm gonna land and then I'm gonna fucking not have to deal with you being in the clouds. Oh god. Anyway, but yeah, imagine that for real. Anyway, but the point wasn't this. The point was to say that I've probably been scarred emotionally. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing. It's nervous because, you know, obviously it's been a while since I've opened up to anyone, and so, you know, opening up to you kind of like gets me. Like that psychopathic Tom Cruise laugh, remember the interview? Anyway, hi. You know, the interview in which he describes to, who was it? That famous guy. God, anyway, he describes to him like, oh yeah, you know, I cut my friend's oxygen off, and he starts laughing, and he goes like, yeah, I think he might just barely escape brain damage and some shit like that, and he's just laughing like a maniac. And that's how I felt now, but like, trust me, when you just kind of like open up, sometimes it can happen. So, you know, I guess it's a reaction. Not that this laugh isn't genuine, but I think it's a reaction. Neris, I was just talking about you. Are you Baldur's Gate 3 certified? Not yet, for quite a while. For quite a while. Like how long? Because if I keep this up, I think I will just like I'll go on a fucking trip down memory lane at this point. Don't take this as nudging, by the way. I'm just getting reacquainted with sharing things about myself, I guess, on stream. It's a process. I snuck a peek at your boards with your mentioned BG stream before. You're both quite early. What was the last thing we did? Huh. I don't remember. And if I was in Baldur's Gate, I would still not remember. I would wake up and be like, hey, Neris, what the fuck do we have to do today? Probably to stuff my character in a closet and start without me. Crest murder spree. Nah, I'm not gonna start with a Crest murder spree without you. I will find a way, a torturous way, perhaps, to fill the time until you're here. Torture is for others. I'll be fine. Wait a minute. I gotta check something out. So I'm gonna put you in BRB jail. and I'll be right back, okay? I'm back. Curlaway is a bit curious, I've mentioned. Okay. What were you talking about before you arrived? Okay. Wait, I'll address you, Neris, in a bit. Good. I love the game series, but I've not managed to even finish Act 2. Cool. I mean, you know, you can jump in if you want. You seem like a good weasel. You seem like a friendly weasel. You can jump in if you want. I don't think we would mind. Though, of course, you know, as I've mentioned on my videos of the past streams, of streams past, wow. But yeah, as I've mentioned there, don't take it wrong, but I will let myself suffer from like main character syndrome because, you know, it's, well, I can't say it in any other way, but it's like, you know, my stream and all. That's why. You're far too shy? Oh my god. Oh my god. Some murder might fix you. If you're too shy. Take it out on the Moonrise Towers, I guess, or the Crest, apparently. But no pressure, no worries about it. And bonding over frog murder. Yeah, true. Damned devil frogs from outer space. No, Neris, wow. I didn't mention you, like, for anything specific other than that we play together, basically. Don't worry. You didn't miss anything too crazy. God, where is my coffee? I need coffee. I ordered coffee and some cold chocolate to just help me cope with opening up, and it's not here. And now I'm feeling the deficiency. Imagine ordering coffee. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, it's quite common where I am from. You missed the chocolate at my place? Yeah, I know. It's cozy. It's comfy. Yeah, I'm aware. It's a very Greek thing to do. Ordering stuff like that, it's very Greek, honestly. I could play XCOM, but the thing is, I am at a point in XCOM where I would like it to have the spotlight, you know, because it's the first like major facility we're gonna shut down, and it's also part of the story and all that. I don't. It's not filler content, so I wouldn't slot it here. Some System Shock. Oh shit! System Shock. That's what I have it installed for. Fuck. Okay, so you know what? All right, let's wrap up this stream and start another one for System Shock, and then another one for Baldur's Gate when you're here, and that should work like perfectly. I'm an expert at organizing my streams. I've got everything under control. Don't worry, nothing is improvised. This is all a script. It's a simulated exercise. All wounds and how does it go? And injuries are simulated. All right, got you. Wait, I have to answer the door. I'll be right back. Sound of coffee. I like to see the sound of coffee in your eyes through your stream on the camera you're not using. That kind of thing. That far gone. That reminded me of the Jack Nicholson line from the original Batman. Have you ever danced with the devil under the pale moonlight? Only he could deliver that line and like make it count. For real. And that was like, can you believe I've never rewatched the original? I watched it like 2 times back then. I have fond memories of it. I vaguely remember some stuff. I remember Jack Nicholson as the Joker facing off with like Michael Keaton's Batman, and he's holding like this insanely long-barreled gun, and he manages to take down the Batwing. Remember that? Oh god, such an old movie. It was a good movie though, as far as I remember at least, but I haven't rewatched it ever since. Oh well. I think if that version of Batman got a remake now, or not a remake, to be clear, if it happened now instead of then, it would have fucking kicked ass. For real. Corny but the good kind from what I recall. Yeah, definitely. You know which original absolutely fucking kicks the shit out of the remake? Total Recall and Blade Runner. Like both of them received the most useless, pointless, fucked up remakes ever. Like they got the short end. There's no way around it. Especially Total Recall was like, I mean, Blade Runner, you might just. It's a slow burn, boring, kind of existential, but not really, you know, trying to be deep, but actually shallow, regurgitated piece of shit. So it can be like, you don't want to give it a 0 completely, but Total Recall, I found it kind of shit for what it was trying to simulate, to emulate, let's say. Because you have to take that into account, right? Because, yeah, Blade Runner, I mean, the original, as much as I love it, it's basically existential fever dreams in the shape of cyberpunk as it was perceived then. And you know, okay, the new one is. It doesn't have the fun fever dream part, the iconic lines, I guess, but yeah, okay, you know. But Total Recall is just inexcusable, and I found it lacking in every department, and most of all in the department of bringing back that nostalgic 80s action movie kind of thing that the original did, and did perfectly, I have to say. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, technically, at least technically, you can say the new Blade Runner is okay. At least technically, you can say, yeah, whatever. Okay, fine, you know. Though again, the original beats it in that regard as well, because it feels a lot more like you would expect cyberpunk environments to look. I don't know how they managed that, but they did. You know, the magic of old fucking cinema, right? I wonder what Romulus is gonna do for Aliens. Like, I haven't watched it. I want to watch it. I'm dying to watch it, actually. I'm hoping it's gonna do um, the atmosphere of the original, right? I hope it's gonna do it justice, because I'm so fucking fed up with the whole existential dog shit that Prometheus and like Covenant were trying to be, and I'm so sour about what they did with Alien's Resurrection and even the third part. So, you know, if this one, if Romulus manages to kind of at least be as good as Isolation, even though that's a game, if it manages to be as good as Isolation, right, I can forgive it. I can be like, okay, that's a good movie. But I haven't watched it yet, so I can't tell you my opinion on it. You're missing nothing by not having watched Covenant. I consider that personally, it's to a point where, for example, I personally, because I'm an authority, okay, I'm very important. I'm the queen here, so I'll have you know, I consider it non-canon. But no, for real, I've kind of like put Prometheus and Covenant in their own little bubble, where it's like a spin-off, or you know how DC or Marvel have like alternate universes, that kind of thing. And it's a very boring one as well. Like, I don't care about that storyline at all. It is peak example. It's a peak example of why some things you just don't need to explain. You might go like, oh, this part of the backstory, oh man, it could be a movie, right? We can make that into a movie and explain how that like, you don't need to do it. Just leave it as it is, you motherfucker. We don't need it. Just give us like fucking you know, discount space marines and big guns and like gung-ho attitude and lots of fucking nasty creatures, and give us like body horror and like other kinds of horror, and mix it all up, and like, I don't know. That worked. That fucking worked. Anyway, yeah. Don't watch Covenant. You're not like, I'm literally gonna tell you don't watch it, which I very rarely say. I never tell people what to watch or not watch. I will tell you don't watch Covenant. It's, I don't know, especially if it's your first, you know, contact with the Aliens franchise. Just skip it. Just fucking skip it, because the original two movies, and especially the second one, they hold up. They hold up fantastically. They didn't need any sequels. They didn't need any weird third parts or fourth parts. Like, they didn't need any fucking French intervention. I don't know. Like, Alien Resurrection, right? All I can say about it is that it has been Frenchified. I'm talking about, you know, you get why I'm saying that, right? It's not being racist, but you get why I'm saying that. They tried to, I'm not sure what they tried to do for real with Resurrection. But it's everything an alien movie shouldn't be, which is quirky, trying to be deep but not really, having like, you know, eccentric characters and you know, that kind of shit. Like, the original cast of Aliens 2, right? Or Aliens, basically. There's no 2 there. It's Alien and then Aliens. They're not that fucking eccentric. They're just as much as they need to be. You know, they feel realistic. But the characters in Alien Resurrection is like something you would see in a Morbius comic. And that's why I'm saying it's Frenchified, because it's got that kind of vibe. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry for the long pause. It's because I'm vaping and I'm having my chocolate, so apologies. And before I go on to System Shock, for which I will turn off the stream. I'll give it 10, and then I'll start over as a System Shock stream. And I'll do the same for when I transition into a beautiful butterfly, by which I mean play Baldur's Gate 3. So just the word transition was there, so I had to make it, a kind of like, you get it, fuck it. But the thing is, Butterfly Game 3. Wait, you can hear me vape? What the fuck? Microphone and betrayed. Oh no. You can hear me suck and slurp on my vapor? Oh, such an embarrassment. The suck? It could be worse. I can make it worse. That wasn't me trying to make it worse. That's me just sucking casually. But I can make it worse. I won't. Small suck. Fuck off with hearing me. Why do you have ears? Can't you, like, not have ears for when I wave? Damn it. Wait, can you hear me suck my chocolate through my straw? There's no way, right? You can't hear that. Like, there's no way you can hear that. But for me, at least in my room, it's louder than when I vape, so I'm pretty curious as to how it's picking up me vaping. But it's not picking up me slurping. I don't know. Could you hear that? That's me, like, playing with the straw. I'm just curious if you could hear it. You probably could, I guess. Or steering the contents. Can you hear that? Oh my god, this is so weird. The chocolate steering ASMR stream. Right now there's construction sounds next to me, so I don't hear. It's okay. By the way, to address what you said, there's never gonna be a Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough ever again on this channel, so... Chocolate manipulation. That's some kind of, like, Jutsu or something, what the fuck? Chocolate manipulation sounds like some kind of Hunter x Hunter or whatever. Kind of Nen powers or Jutsu from Naruto or something. Chocolate manipulation. Jujutsu Kaisen kind of shit. New One Piece Devil Fruit, yeah. Domain expansion, vape clouds. That's it. What did I want to say though? Yeah, there's never gonna be another. Because I've already done like 2. Wait, 3. Wait, 4. Wait. How many times have I tried to finish Cyberpunk and then I couldn't? And then at one point I managed it actually. And I couldn't because it was insufferable, but then at one point I kind of did it. I think I've tried it like 4 times. Cyberpunk is a cornerstone of this stream. Oh my god, it was a pivotal point for my streaming career, I have to say. It was, to be fair, I think it's one of the few games that actually broke me. And I went like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot fucking do this. I don't have it in me, and I think it's the very few games that broke me. And that says a lot because, for example, not even Tormented Souls broke me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna finish this motherfucker, and I finished it, and it was horrible. And everyone pretended it's like such a huge masterpiece. I don't fucking know, dude. It sucked dicks. It sucked donkey dicks. For real. Like, that game, when the sequel comes out, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play that too, because it sucked so bad that I can't... I can't have to do it. It was so bad, for real. It was so fucking bad. God. I mean, I can't wait either, right? I wanted it to come out and so I can actually stream it. It's such a stupid game. Oh my god. It was bad. You know, it wasn't... Alright, so it wasn't as bad as... Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me, I'm gonna say this. It wasn't as bad as Signalis. Like, Signalis was offensive because the story and the atmosphere and other things about it, which I don't care to mention even, because I'm only trying to make a point. But yeah, they were so fucking 10 out of 10. But the actual moment to moment was a complete fucking disaster, in my opinion, right? I don't think I've ever seen a game actively trying to suck so bad. Like, on purpose. I don't even know why. And then you get to the final place, like to the final like few maps, and it's like, what are you even doing? The devs gave up. Like, you could tell they gave up because it's like copy-paste like fucking Silent Hill maps. And Silent Hill riddles. And I love Silent Hill, but I don't like games that are trying to be Silent Hill because they can't be something on their own. Ever played Shadowrun? No, I am aware of it. I've watched a bit. I do like the setting a lot. I do know that there is a tabletop RPG, of course. I had friends that played the tabletop. I really liked the, you know, browsing the rule book and all that shit, and the setting is also pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, but yeah, it's nice. I mean, a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 is literally ripped off of Shadowrun. It's like a more contained, supposedly more realistic, because you don't get like, you know, cyber orcs or whatever, version of Shadowrun essentially, and much more shallow and all that. So yeah. All right. So what I was saying before I started into all this, right? I was gonna ask you, Weasel, what happened and you couldn't like get past what did you say, the first act, I think, of Baldur's Gate 3? What happened there? Since you mentioned it, I have to ask, right? Restart Titus. Oh my god, that fucking sucks. I'm gonna share a story with you, which is embarrassing. So it's about restarting things, and so you know I love Guild Wars, right? I love Guild Wars, but it's the only game. I've already told you, I've already admitted publicly to having, for example, an issue with camel caps. If you know what that is, if I'm saying it correctly. So I do have like certain quirks like that, where some things I just, you know, if Shit, how can I explain it? I remember explaining it while I was playing Skyrim, and I was explaining it really well, but like, how do I, wait, I'll try. Give me a sec. So, okay, let's say, for example, I can, all right, I'll usually type this. I can't type this. Or I can type this, but not this. And I can never be like high. It has to be high. If it's at the start of a sentence, for example. I also can't type sun. I have to type sun. Or winter. It can never be winter. I hope this all makes sense somehow. And I have other things like that. So, for example, in an RPG, right? If I'm playing an RPG and there is a choice of dialogue that goes like... let me find an example. Maybe it says something like, no, but blah blah, right? I can't click that. It has to be no, but. Does it make sense? And I've been actively trying to fight that, and I've succeeded like to a huge degree. And it's not to a point where it's like absolutely pathologically cannot click it or something. So if it's something important or a choice that represents what I want to say in a dialogue, I will, or if it goes against certain other things, if it's about lying, for example, I will choose the one that I want. So lowercase is not gonna stop me. But in a vacuum though, I will always prefer what I said, right? Okay, so it's a funny story about restarting. It will become relevant. I'm just building the context, okay? And I also, back then, I had I don't know what it was exactly. Some form of like whatever or other. And I for the life of me, I couldn't fucking click on certain things, or you know, I would, for example, talk to an NPC and the dialogue would pop up, whatever, and something in me would be like, okay, this didn't happen correctly, you have to do it again, right? Does that make sense? But it was something temporary, like I got over it. It's very weird why it was, I have no idea why it was happening, but it was happening for like maybe up to 4 years. And I wasn't streaming then or anything. But it did fuck me up, like it was fucking me up so bad. And so I was playing Guild Wars, right? At the time. And Neris was there, and he can confirm that it was this bad. It was literally this bad, but it wasn't permanent either. It's like right now, for example, I don't really have it. I don't really feel it. Let's say, I don't want to say have it, but like feel it is better. I don't feel the need, and I'm not quite sure what changed either. It just stopped, you know. And I mean, it also just started. I don't know what caused it initially or whatever. I never looked too much into it either. And it never was an issue with anything I ever did, and perhaps that's why I never fucking had to deal with it before. And then comes Guild Wars 2. And the menus in that game and the user interface in general have a certain style to them, and certain sounds and you know, presentation, let's say, and elements that triggered me so hard that, for example, I would make a character, I would go through the story, and this is the relevant part about restarting, and I would go through the story, and I would reach like a one-time point, right? Any point. Maybe you talk to an NPC, right? Maybe you just talk to an NPC, and you'll never get to talk to them again. So it's like a one-time point, right? It's in the story, let's say, of your character, because it's an MMO if you don't know it. And I would, for example, for whatever reason, maybe I would click too fast, and I would go past the dialogue, and that would fuck me so hard, like mentally. It would fuck me so hard up the ass that I would abandon the character, make the exact same character, play the exact same way up to that point, and at that point, I kid you not, I would be shitting myself, not literally, in case I do the same mistake and fuck up again, quote unquote fuck up again, because there's no fuck up actually, there's nothing happening, it's just your brain going whatever. And I was dreading it. I was literally dreading it. And this fucking thing, let me tell you, this fucking thing, whatever the fuck it was, it caused me to restart 4 times or something. Unimaginable. For real. And only with fucking Guild Wars. Like, no other game ever triggered it to this degree, or anywhere close to this. It was so unique, and I'm not even embarrassed to admit that at one point, the pressure of restarting over and over and over, doing the same thing over and over and over, the fear of, quote unquote, again, making a mistake again and losing my playthrough, and other things all combined created such an immense pressure that I would literally cry sometimes. Imagine that. Can you imagine that shit? Which to me was it's something that like I never had experienced before. Like that level of I don't know what the fuck to call it, honestly, but that level of whatever the fuck it is, I've never experienced since. And obviously I still play Guild Wars and I still love it, and yeah, I don't know what the fuck it was, but it caused me to restart like so many times. And that's why it's relevant to what you said, and it just reminded me, and I wanted to share it. But it's also unbelievable, because like I don't really have, let's say, for example, OCD, right? I don't really have OCD. It's like this, for example, where I put it here, right? I could have it here. I could have it also here. It doesn't bother me, except aesthetically. Like this looks more pleasing to me. That's all. I don't have to, for example, unlock and lock my door like 50 times before I leave my house or something. I don't have those things, you know? But Guild Wars, for some reason, fucked me so badly. It destroyed me. It really fucking destroyed me. I have no idea why. And another, like, what is more dramatic, actually, is that sometimes I would make, like, those really fucking difficult attempts to get over it, you know, on the spot. And what that meant was that, like, I would reach a point where I knew from a previous playthrough that it's, you know, so to speak, dangerous territory for my trigger or whatever you want to call that shit. I don't know a better word right now. And I would be like, okay, you know what? It's okay. I made another quote-unquote mistake, but I don't care. I don't want to waste this character. I'll continue. And then I would continue for another couple of hours, and then it would be building up. And after a couple of hours, we'd be like, okay, I can't do this. Let me start over right now. Which was worse because, you know, I had to, well, basically, you know, I lost another 2 hours doing that, right? So it was exponentially worse. I cannot describe it. I don't know what it was. It was very specific. It was very oppressing. I felt fucking crushed by that thing. I felt crushed, legit, by that thing. And even the fact that I was wasting so much time, and I was aware of what I was doing. but could not stop myself from doing it, that emotionally destroyed me. It emotionally fucking wrecked me. Honestly, you have no idea. And since then, I was like, you know, I was like, I'm never gonna call anyone, not call anyone, I'm never gonna like take anyone's OCD lightly. Because I saw what it could potentially, progress into, and how much it can torture you, even though I think what it wasn't OCD. I can see that the results are like quite similar, and so I can never take anyone lightly who says, for example, or who actually suffers from OCD, and they have like this or other similar things. I'm not a fucking specialist, so I don't fucking know. But if someone suffers from that, and it's impeding their quality of life because of it, I feel you. I honestly feel you. I would not wish that shit on anyone. It's insane what it can do to you. And I have a feeling I just got like a small taste of it. Sometimes it can be when other things in life are in flux, so you create such. But nothing was in flux back then. It was like everything was fine. I was like, seriously, everything was fine. There is nothing that could have caused it on the spot. So if something, if something from the far past or something caused it, then I can't have known. But seemingly, at least in that period, there was nothing really bad going on or anything else. And even though I am a control freak to a degree, I enjoy having control over what I'm doing, what's happening to me, all that shit. And I do hate losing control. It's only to a degree, and I don't think it would ever cause me to go into a fit like that where I have to control everything's flow, for example. So, and that's not to refute your theory or anything, but it just feels like it was random as fuck, to me at least. Also because it just disappeared and appeared randomly as fuck. As far as I can remember, anyway. And it was completely unrelated to anything else. Because let's say that I did have something going on in life and I just don't remember it, or it was subconscious, right? Even then, wouldn't it have manifested in like other parts of my life? Because it wasn't. It was literally Guild Wars 2 causing it. I'm not saying that Guild Wars 3 is cursed, by the way, and I do love the game. I absolutely fucking love the game, which is irrelevant to this. I'm just saying. But it didn't happen with anything else. For example, I was playing Final Fantasy on the side or other games on the side, and it wasn't like that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned that I had this on stream. I've mentioned um, the whatever case, Pascal case, Camel case. I don't even know, maybe both. I've mentioned that before, but I've never mentioned this little story about Guild Wars and like restarting it for like 50,000 times. And which ironically, by the way, is how I now have that many alts, because after I would create those characters, I couldn't delete them. So eventually, when I got over it, and by that time I also had a new main as well, or two basically, my thief and my warrior, and I finished with those, and I finished the story and everything, and I had done everything I wanted to do with those characters. I went back and I leveled those old characters that were like basically the result of my compulsions back then, and I just turned them into farming alts essentially, and they still exist, and that's actually kind of nice because you know, your characters have separate birthdays on Guild Wars, and every birthday you get like some gifts and shit, of increasing value every year. And so, you know, the fact that they exist and they're there is pretty convenient right now. So I'm glad I didn't delete them in the end. I'm glad I didn't connect them to such a bad phase and just like, you know, deleted them. Because I know some people are, um, I know some people who can't, for example, quit an MMO unless they delete their characters so that they don't have this incentive to keep playing. Or they delete them because I don't, maybe as you said, right? Maybe they just restart. I don't know why. Like I've never looked into the psychology of that, of what you call restartitis. But I know it's a literal thing. Like probably not called that, but like it is a literal thing among the unwashed gaming masses that we're all part of. It is a thing. Like some people are even afraid of reaching the end, and so they just delete the character and start over, which I will never understand that shit. And part of me hopes I never understand that shit, because if that shit makes sense, and then you want to do it, then, you know, that's gonna be a disaster, isn't it? A secret ploy to get gifts? Listen, I do not need a ploy to get gifts or grant gifts. All I need is a little bit of convincing, wink wink, and for both of those versions, either receiving or giving. So yeah, there is no ploy with me. I am your deepest desires Baron in front of you. And shit like that. The road to my heart and mind is a straight line, and it goes both ways, baby. That said, that said, I do love receiving gifts. I do love receiving gifts, I have to say. And I will also admit, I would say I mean, it's obvious, right? It's fucking obvious. I will always prefer receiving gifts than giving gifts, if that makes sense. You always find it awkward. You love giving them though. I see. Yeah, it is a bit awkward, but it's the kind of like it's not a bad kind of embarrassment. It's like a good kind of embarrassment. It's like a good kind of uncomfortable, right? It's not a bad kind of uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, you know, oh you stop it with your gifts, but also give them here, keep them coming. It's kind of like that, but like unironically, like in a pure way, you know, in a pure sense. It's like, yeah, just like compliments. Like if somebody compliments me, I can have an adverse reaction, um, but it's welcome, and it doesn't like bother me the way it makes me react, for example, or feel. But it might look like it does because I might, you know, I might joke about it or try to turn it around or kind of like self-deprecate a little bit just to make me feel a bit more okay. You're pretty bad at accepting compliments. Yeah, me too in a way, I guess. Me too in a way. It depends. It really depends because if it's an unwanted advance, right? If it's an unwanted advance, I can handle it like a pro. I can absolutely fucking mop the floor with a person who clearly isn't invited to make advances, for example, and tries to compliment me. I don't fucking get buzzed by that shit. I don't get phased by that. But if it's someone who I don't know, I'm kind of like, I like them, or even as a person or as a friend, it doesn't have to be romantic. But I mean, the effect is amplified when I do feel something of a romantic, somewhat in a romantic way about them. It does amplify that. It enhances it. But like, even just a friend complimenting me, I will have difficulty handling it, but not the bad kind of difficulty. I don't know. I'll probably blush or smile too much or some shit like that. I don't know. And ironically, I haven't had unwanted advances, so now I'm curious how I'd react to that. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. It's interesting to think about. I know for a fact that I can react. So this can be a problem because sometimes when it's an unwanted advance, I can react in a way, and I'm aware of it. I haven't been told so, obviously, but I'm aware of it. I can react in a way that it can signal the other person falsely that I'm being a brat, essentially, and I'm just, trying to deflect, but like in a way that I want the person to continue or something like that. I'm aware that I do that because generally I'm a smart mouth. Okay, generally I'm a smartass. Like, I wouldn't say witty because that's, I don't know, that's like complimenting myself a bit too much, I guess. But I will say that I'm a smartass, and I got smart mouth on me, and so sometimes that tsundere. Unironically, I've been called that by someone who knows me really well and for a long time, and they eventually, and the way I reacted to that, and the way that I'm reacting to it now, even internally, because I'm not gonna externalize it, was a very tsundere way of reacting to being called to be called that. But yeah, absolutely. There is a friendly couple. Neris knows them. We've met in real life, and at one point, like, we were discussing something. I don't even remember what we were discussing, and one of them went, "Did you know that you're a fucking tsundere? Like, it's laughable. You're such a tsundere in the end." And I was like, "What?" I didn't expect it, and I was like, "Fuck off," because they were right, and that pissed me off. It pisses me off when people are right about me. In a good way, I guess. You've never noticed, but you can see it. Well, you see, there is the thing is, you are too familiar with me, so there are probably things that you're missing, which someone else that doesn't know me that well might just notice them easier because they're seeing it like from further away, let's say. There is also the fact that, like, when the other person is calm and collected and in a very nice way, they're just there, and they're just, they're very nice and composed and everything, and they don't really exhibit any how can I put this? they don't pull or push in a certain direction when it comes to character, but they are just in a very sweet way, like some kind of, you know, anime main character where they have like integrity and they're kind of flawless and all that shit, and you know, and they're steady and they're and all that, and they're inspiring confidence, and they're very optimistic about how they go about things, and you know, they exude a kind of certainty in what they're doing and all that. That kind of, that works like a fucking pacifier for me. Like that shit calms me immensely, and so in turn I also stop how do you call this, my temperament kind of calms down, let's say. So since you have all those qualities, Neris, it makes sense that like around you I'm like I'm far more calm, let's say, when it comes to exhibiting, like, you know, traits of my character, let's say, or just traits, I guess, exhibiting my traits. So yeah, maybe that's why you haven't noticed it, because of course you can't be 24/7 something, right? You can never be 24/7 something, because you're not an anime character, you're not a movie character. You have fluctuations, and you have like emotional states, and you have moods and all that shit. So it makes sense then that depending on the company you're with at the time, some things might come out differently or not at all, or might become exaggerated and shit like that. Like if you have a friend, for example, who is completely who's a fucking moron, you know, in a good way, you also kind of want to join in the fun and also be a moron, which is highly enjoyable, and just do stupid shit, you know, obviously as long as everything is legal and safe and moral, but still stupid and dumb and fun, you know. So you want to do it, which is something you might not do with other people, which is also another interesting conversation, because when you do that and you meet someone, for example, well, they kind of fall in love with that part of you, but not with the whole of you. And then you might suddenly present a side of yourself which is like more, let's say, more contained, more serious and all that, and they might go, that's not the person I fall in love with. And you're like, what? Did you think that you fell in love with like someone who is like literally 2D? I mean, did you not expect that like I can also be serious or mature or whatever? Which I know it might surprise like a lot of you, assuming there's a lot of you. But yeah, I do have a pretty serious side, and I do have like my own, like, you know, my own stuff that like troubles me or I like talking about or whatever. So, you know, it's not always fun and games. But I mean, you're also like, you're also kind of rolling low on your perception there, because 3 years now, right? You've known me to like organize our raiding groups and our like statics and whatnot, and the guilds that we're in and all that shit. Like, haven't you ever once noticed that I get bossy, or I get like I snarl at people uh, and stuff like that. So you should have realized that, like, yeah, maybe you don't see it because reasons, but yeah, I am kind of let's just say that Weasel is kind of right, which I hate. Let's just say that Weasel is kind of right, because I'm also at the same time soft, and you know, I will respond like yeah, but that's where it comes though. Like, that's where it comes in, because even though I'm bossy and all that, um, under the right circumstances, it can be turned around, and when it's turned around, it's usually that way. It's weird. Anyway, look, all this is fun, but you will also completely admit that your people perception is -5. I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. I would more say so that like your guard is like low when I'm there. I'll say that. So you kind of like, get lulled into not paying too much attention in general, because I'm there to pay attention to unruly fucking brats looking to ruin our group with their peasant presence. I mean, when was the last time that in any MMO you went like, okay, let me handle this guy, or let me handle that kick? That's what I'm saying. I'm not like taking stabs at you. I'm just saying, observations basically. I'm just sharing my observations. Whereas because of my compulsions, I'm more likely to go, let me handle that person, or let me handle whatever problem that person is having, or, all that shit. I mean, obviously, because you have a job and you also have to attend education and all that. Whereas I'm like a literal no-lifer. I'm just in front of my PC, playing smart, and just being sexy as fuck, and streaming. That's what I do. So yeah, yeah, that's what I do. That's what I really do. There's nothing else to it. That's my life. Being super smart and then like super likable, and that's why I have like millions of viewers and millions of subscribers. Oh my god. Okay, listen, enough of that shit. I'm gonna turn this stream off. I'm gonna restart it as a System Shock stream. Join if you wanna join, or don't join if you don't wanna. And down the line, maybe an hour or two at most, I will turn it into a Baldur's Gate 3 stream. So you'll know what's coming. And yeah, just act accordingly, I guess, okay? According to what you want. I'll allow it this time. Next time I'll tell you what you're gonna do. And yeah, so see you in like 10, okay? See you in 10 for some System Shock. I'm not gonna comment on what you just said. Alright. Big stretch and then I go. Fuck. Alright, okay. Cool. See you in 10.